In this video, we are going to talk about section 6.2, which is percent and fraction notation. Now, some of what we're going to talk about will actually play on what we just talked about in section 6.1. So if you need to, you can go back and refer to that video. Okay, so our goal here is to be able to convert from fraction notation to percent notation. Okay, so the idea is that from a fraction to a percent, we need to first write our fraction as a decimal and then convert it to a percent, which we talked about in section 6.1. Two things. If it's a common fraction, just write it as a decimal. Okay, if you know what the decimal equivalent is, just go ahead and write it. And if it's an uncommon fraction or you don't know, then we're going to have to divide in order to figure out what that decimal is. Okay, so let's take a look at 1/4. 1/4, that's a common fraction, which I know to be 0.25. Okay, and now it says find the percent notation for each fraction. So 1/4, we said that as a decimal is 0.25, and then our rule was move the decimal 2 places to the right. So this gives us 25%, and I'm sure that you already were ahead of me on that one, and you knew that. Okay. 3/5, now this is actually one of our probably fairly common fractions, but if you're unsure, you can divide. But I know that 3/5, that's the same as 6/10. And 6/10 is actually 0.6 as a decimal. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move our decimal 2 places to the right. Go ahead and add a 0 here when you don't have one. So this is 60%. Okay, on to the next one. 3/16. Now this is not one that I have commonly memorized. Maybe you do, but I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and divide. How many times does 16 go into 3? Well, it doesn't go into 3, of course. So I'm going to have to add a couple of zeros in order to figure this out. Okay, so the first question is, how many times does 16 go into 30? Well, that's 1. So now we're going to do some long division here when I subtract. And I borrow, and now I'm going to get 14. How many times, oops, sorry, got to bring down our 0. How many times does 16 go into 140? Well, 16 times 10 would be 160, and this is 20 less than 160, so I'm going to say that that is 8 times. And 16 times 8 is going to give me 128, so I'm good to go there. And again, I'm going to subtract, and now I get 12. Go ahead and add some more zeros, just long division here. So now how many times does 16 go into 120? Well, I believe that that's going to be 7 times. Okay, so that 16 times 7, that is going to give me 112. And when I subtract here, I'm going to get 8. One more 0. And of course, 16 goes into 85 times. So that is our 0. You can also use this on a calculator, but every so often I think it's helpful to go back and practice your long division just in case. Okay, so 3/16 is the same as 0.1875. Okay, so I'm going to write that here. And of course we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the right, so this gives us 18.75%. Okay. Our last one, 2/9. Now you could divide this one as well, but this is all one of the fractions that I think is helpful to remember. You should probably commit to memory your ninths. 1/9 would just be 0.11 repeating. 2/9 is actually 0.22 repeating. Okay, 3/9 would be the same as 1/3, which is 0.33 repeating, and so on and so forth. Okay. So if I move my decimal 2 places to the right, I don't want you to write 22% because of course we know that that keeps repeating, so it's actually 22.22 repeating percent. Okay, so that's how we write our fraction to percent notation. Okay. Now similarly, we are going to go from percent notation back to our fraction notation. We write the percent divided by 100, or we write it as times 1 over 100. Divided by 100 and multiplied by 1 over 100 is the same thing. So 17%, 17, remember percent means divided by or per, meaning divide by 100. So 17% is the same as 17 over 100. 17 is prime, so I can't reduce there. 76%, I'm just going to write this as 76 over 100, but I know, of course, that 76 and 100 are both divisible by, let's see, they're both divisible by 4. So this is the same as 19 over 25. Okay, if you can simplify, please do. Oh, this is interesting, 6.75%. So I'm going to go ahead and put this as 6.75 over 100. Okay. Now I cannot leave a decimal inside of my fraction, so I need to move this 2 places, which means I need to move it 2 places in the denominator as well. So that's going to give me 675 over 10,000. But then, of course, I should divide and simplify, and that will actually give me 27 over 400 when I simplify. Okay. Ooh, this is a tricky one. 22 1/3%. I need to first think of this as an improper fraction. So 22 times 3, that gives me 66. So this is one more, is 67 over 3. This might be a time where we multiply by 1 over 100 instead of dividing by 100. Okay. So now we just multiply these fractions, and I'm going to get 67 divided by 300. And I believe that's as simple as we can go, but I'm just going to double check here. Yep, that's as simple as we go. We can't divide by 3 or 4 in those cases. And then 124%, that's of course 124 divided by 100. I know I can simplify that down into 31 over 25. And of course I can write this as 1 and 6/25. So I would take that, either one of those as well. Okay, so that's how we work on converting between fraction and decimal notation. Or excuse me, fraction and percent notation. So if you get stuck, don't forget you can refer back to section 6.1 on how to go between percent and decimal notation. And I'll see you in the next lesson.